travelled to Poland in December 2025. One of the main reasons for the trip was this place, Zamek Ogrodzieniec. A landscape shaped by steep cliffs, caves and unusual formations. Ogrodzieniec lies along the Eagle's Nest's route, a historic trail running for about 160 kilometers through southern Poland. I would have liked to visit them all, but this time it became just this one. And the truth is that it is not the castle itself that interests me most. I look at the site as a whole, but the more a place is restored and turned into a tourist attraction, the more of its original character it tends to lose. It is clear that the structure has been rebuilt many times. Large amounts of mortar bind the stones together. What interests me more is the underlying structure, the foundation, what we call rock, and the ancient stone beneath the reconstructed surfaces. What may have existed here before all of this? Could this be the remains of something far older? Classical archaeology says no. They argue that the limestone rock lacked clear signs of workmanship, such as tool marks, consistent masonry, or repeating measurements. They also point out that the limestone forms large continuous geological layers across the region and extends beneath the surface, which they say does not correspond to traditional human ruins. But if we step outside the classical archaeological framework, another possibility appears. What if this entire area once consisted of large structures, now partially buried and subjected to something so extreme that all clear human traces were erased? In some places, it is hard to tell where the so-called rock ends and the building begins, because parts of the castle were built from the surrounding rock. What if we imagine, purely hypothetically, that the limestone cliffs we see today were once enormous structures, built from a human-made material such as Roman concrete? If structures like that were exposed to an extreme event, the question becomes what would be required for a building material to lose all recognizable form and begin to resemble natural rock formations. From a technical point of view, this would require a powerful combination of intense heat, sudden pressure, large amounts of water, and a strong chemical shock. Under such conditions, the material could be altered from within. Lime and silica could recrystallize. Some areas could become dense and hard, even smooth, while others remained porous and rough. Surfaces could become chemically sealed, cracks filled in, and original joints and layers blurred or erased. The result would be irregular, knotted forms with shifting hardness and texture, surfaces that feel smooth and hard in some places, rough and eroded in others. Something that today could easily be perceived as natural cliffs, even if the material itself was once shaped by human hands. I have a strong sense that what we call natural rock here may once have been architecture. Maybe something happened, and later generations arrived at a place that still carried traces of structure. And so, they built on top of it. We are often told that castles were placed in locations like this purely for defense because height and rock offer protection. But building directly into formations like these would have been extremely difficult, It makes more sense if something was already here and people rebuilt on what remained. And if advanced building methods existed before our accepted timeline, we might not even recognize the remains as architecture today. The evidence for millions of years is considered strong within mainstream science, at least according to the experts themselves, but it is far from absolute. It rests on assumptions that we already understand the past correctly. Age dating does not measure age directly. It relies on interpretation. Fossils are dated using other fossils. Layers are explained through models. Chemical patterns are assumed to be natural. These are coherent models, but they are still models. The question then becomes how much of our geology is direct observation and how much is interpretation. I also looked into the stories connected to this place. Local stories speak of hidden corridors, secret passages beneath the castle, said to lead to buried treasures, or perhaps connect to neighboring castles and other places in the area. There is no archaeological evidence for such networks, but the legends continue among visitors and guides. And if this so-called limestone extends deep into the ground, what do we really know about what lies just beneath our feet? As in so many other places around the world, where entire cities suddenly emerge below us, once you allow for the possibility that what we call natural rock may once have been shaped by human hands, the question no longer belongs only to this place. If we assume that the limestone cliffs here were once shaped from man-made materials, later transformed and reinterpreted as natural rock, then the question does not stop there. What about some of the great megalithic sites around the world? Massive blocks fitted together with extreme precision, covered in strange knobs and protrusions, stacked on top of each other and said to have been carried from far away. We are told that these are natural stones, cut and shaped. We know which minerals are present, but that alone does not tell us whether the material was quarried as solid rock or shaped from a composite substance that later hardened into something stone-like. If such materials were once capable of being shaped, then features like knobs may not be lifting points at all, but remnants of a shaping or hardening process. These are only my thoughts. I have no proof, but that is exactly why the questions matter, and why it is important that we keep asking them.